Ladies and gentlemen, we often say, "One day I will travel, one day when work is done, one day when money is enough, one day when life is calm," but that one day keeps moving away because we never save time for travel, we only save excuses. Time is the only thing life does not give back. Money can return, opportunities can return, even people sometimes return. But time once gone is gone forever. Travel is not a luxury of life, it is a lesson of life. It teaches you things that no book, no screen, and no routine ever can. Time is limited, but excuses are unlimited. And we prove this to ourselves every single day without even realizing it. We wake up with plans, with silent promises to ourselves, and by night we are surrounded by reasons why nothing happened. We say tomorrow will be better, tomorrow will be free, tomorrow will be easier, but tomorrow quietly turns into months, and months turn into years. Time keeps moving forward with or without our permission, while excuses sit comfortably, waiting to be used again. We often protect our excuses more than our dreams. We say we are busy, but we still find time for things that drain us. We say we have responsibilities, but we forget that we also have a life. Excuses sound logical, mature, and safe, while dreams sound risky and unrealistic. So we choose excuses because they don't challenge us. They don't demand courage, and they don't ask us to step out of what we already know. Time does not stop when we hesitate. It does not slow down when we feel confused. It does not wait for us to feel ready. It keeps passing quietly, like sand slipping through fingers, and one day we realize our hands are empty. At that moment, excuses no longer help because time does not listen to explanations. It only shows results. Many people believe they will start living once everything is settled, once work is stable, once money is enough, once life feels secure, but life was never designed to be perfectly arranged. There will always be another task, another bill, another reason to wait. Excuses grow stronger when comfort grows stronger, and comfort slowly turns into a cage that looks safe from the outside. Excuses also protect us from fear, fear of failure, fear of change, fear of the unknown. Saying "I don't have time" is easier than saying "I am scared." Saying "maybe later" is easier than saying "what if I fail?" Excuses hide our fears so well that we start believing them ourselves. Time, on the other hand, is honest. It does not lie. It does not pretend. Every passing day is proof that we are either moving forward or standing still. Time gives us chances quietly, without announcements. Miss one chance and it offers another, but never the same one again. When we look back at life, we don't regret the days we were tired. We regret the days we were brave, but chose to stay silent. We regret the plans we postponed and the dreams we kept waiting. Excuses feel harmless in the present, but they become heavy in the past. Time wants action, not perfection. It does not demand big steps, only real ones. Even small moments matter when they are used honestly. A few hours saved from excuses can turn into memories, growth, and clarity. But once those hours are spent on waiting, they are gone without leaving anything behind. Every excuse we make today borrows from tomorrow's peace. Every delay adds another layer of regret we don't feel now, but will feel later. Time keeps offering space to live fully, but excuses keep filling that space with noise. The truth is, we are never too busy for what truly matters. We are only too distracted, too comfortable, or too afraid to choose differently. Time keeps asking us to choose again and again, while excuses keep answering on our behalf. Travel is not escape, it is self-discovery, even though many people believe the opposite. They think traveling means running away from problems, responsibilities, or reality. But the truth is, you don't escape yourself when you travel. You meet yourself more clearly. Away from routine, away from familiar faces, away from expectations, you begin to hear your own thoughts without interruption. In daily life, we are always playing roles. Someone's child, someone's parent, someone's employee, someone's support system. We wake up knowing what is expected from us, and we perform it without question. Travel removes those labels for a while. No one knows your past, your mistakes, or your status. You are just a human moving through new streets, learning how to exist without validation. When you travel, silence becomes louder. Long roads, unfamiliar skies, and quiet moments force you to sit with your thoughts. Things you were avoiding slowly come to the surface. Questions you buried start asking themselves again. This is why travel feels uncomfortable to some people. It removes distractions and exposes what is inside. Travel teaches you how little you actually need. You realize happiness is not connected to possessions, but to presence. A simple meal in a new place can feel richer than luxury at home. A small room can feel peaceful if your mind is light. Travel shows you that joy depends more on mindset than surroundings. In new places, you learn patience. You wait, you observe, you adjust. Things don't work the way you are used to, and you learn to accept that. This acceptance slowly changes you. You stop forcing life to move according to your rules and start flowing with what is given. That shift stays with you long after the journey ends. Travel also humbles you. You see people living differently, thinking differently, surviving differently. You understand that your way is not the only way. Your beliefs soften, your judgments slow down, and your heart opens without effort. You don't need lectures to learn this. The experience teaches you quietly. When you travel alone, you learn self-trust. You make decisions, face uncertainty, and handle small fears on your own. Each step builds confidence, not loud confidence, but silent strength. You realize you are capable of more than you thought, not because someone told you, but because you lived it. Travel gives you distance from your problems, not to escape them, but to see them clearly. When you step away, you understand what truly matters and what was just noise. Problems don't disappear, but they shrink when you stop staring at them from the same angle every day. You also learn to let go. Missed plans, wrong turns, unexpected delays teach you flexibility. You stop controlling everything and start accepting life as it comes. This lesson becomes part of you, changing how you handle challenges even after you return. Travel strips you down to your core. Without routine, without comfort, without familiar systems, you discover who you are when nothing is planned. And in that discovery, you don't run away from life. You return to it with more clarity, awareness, and honesty. We delay travel, thinking life will slow down, believing that one day our responsibilities will reduce and our schedule will finally breathe. We tell ourselves that this phase is temporary, that the pressure will ease soon, and then we will take time for ourselves. But life does not work in phases that politely end. One responsibility quietly replaces another, and the space we were waiting for never truly arrives. At every stage of life there is a reason to wait. When we are young, we wait for stability. When we become stable, we wait for security. When we feel secure, we wait for more comfort. The finish line keeps moving forward, and we keep chasing it while postponing the moments that make life feel alive. We assume that being busy means being productive, and delaying travel feels like a responsible choice. But busyness often becomes a habit, not a necessity. We fill our days with tasks that feel urgent, but are not always important. Travel gets pushed aside because it doesn't scream for attention the way deadlines do. Life rarely slows down on its own. It only speeds up, days blend into each other, weeks disappear, and suddenly years feel shorter than months once did. Waiting for life to slow down is like waiting for waves to stop before entering the ocean. The waves never stop, and neither does life. We tell ourselves that travel requires perfect timing, enough money, enough energy, enough peace of mind. But perfect timing is a myth created by fear. There will always be something unfinished, something pending, something uncertain. Travel does not ask for perfection, it asks for intention. Delaying travel also delays perspective. Staying in the same environment keeps the same thoughts looping in the mind. Problems feel heavier because they are never seen from a distance. Travel creates that distance. It breaks mental patterns and offers new angles, but only if we allow ourselves to step away. Many people believe travel is a reward, something to be earned after years of hard work, but travel is not a prize waiting at the end of suffering. It is fuel. It refreshes the mind, resets emotions, and restores clarity. Waiting too long means burning out before refueling. Life becomes quieter in unexpected ways when we travel, not because responsibilities disappear, but because our attachment to constant pressure loosens. We realize that the world keeps functioning even when we pause. Emails wait, tasks remain, but the earth does not stop spinning because we chose to step away for a moment. We often overestimate how much control we have over the future. Health, energy, and time feel guaranteed until they are not. Delaying experiences assumes that tomorrow will always cooperate, but tomorrow is not promised in the way we imagine it to be. Travel reminds us that time is not meant to be saved for later use. It is meant to be spent wisely in the present. Waiting for life to slow down means letting years pass without fully noticing them. The belief that life will eventually calm down keeps us trapped in constant postponement. We keep preparing for a life that never arrives, while the real life keeps moving past us quietly, day by day. Comfort steals dreams more than fear does, because fear is loud and visible, while comfort is quiet and convincing. Fear makes your heart race, but comfort makes you sit still. Fear pushes you to think, but comfort tells you that thinking is unnecessary. Slowly, without warning, comfort becomes the reason you stop chasing the things that once mattered to you. Comfort feels safe. It wraps itself around routine, familiar places, and predictable outcomes. There is no risk in comfort, and that is exactly why it becomes dangerous. Dreams require movement, and comfort prefers stillness. When life becomes too comfortable, growth feels uncomfortable, and we start avoiding anything that disturbs our routine. Fear at least makes you aware that something important is at stake. Comfort, on the other hand, convinces you that everything is fine. You stop questioning your days. You stop asking if you are moving forward. You start measuring life by ease instead of meaning. Comfort slowly lowers your standards. What once felt unacceptable starts feeling normal. You accept days that look the same, thoughts that go nowhere, and plans that never leave your mind. Not because you are incapable, but because you are settled. Comfort tells you that effort is optional and dreams can wait. When people talk about missed opportunities, they often blame fear, but most missed opportunities are lost in comfort. The comfort of staying where you are, the comfort of not learning something new, the comfort of not starting again. Fear may block the first step, but comfort prevents the second, third, and all the steps after that. Comfort also creates the illusion of happiness. You are not unhappy, but you are not fulfilled either. Life feels manageable, but empty in subtle ways. There is no pain, but there is also no excitement. Over time, this emotional flatness becomes normal, and you forget what it feels like to be deeply alive. Dreams need tension to survive. They need challenges, uncertainty, and discomfort. Comfort removes that tension. It softens the edges of desire until dreams lose their urgency. They become ideas you talk about, not realities you work toward. Travel often challenges comfort because it disrupts routines. New places, new schedules, and unfamiliar environments shake the sense of control comfort provides. That is why comfort resists travel. It whispers reasons to stay, to delay, to wait for a better time. Comfort makes time disappear quietly. You don't notice it leaving because nothing dramatic is happening. Days are easy, nights are predictable, and weeks pass without resistance. Fear hurts, but it wakes you up. Comfort feels pleasant, but it puts your ambitions to sleep. People rarely regret moments of discomfort that led to growth. They regret the years spent choosing comfort over courage. Comfort does not destroy dreams in one moment. It does it slowly, patiently, day by day. Choosing discomfort does not mean choosing chaos. It means choosing progress over ease, meaning over convenience, and movement over stillness. Comfort will always be available, waiting for you to return, but dreams require you to leave it behind. Comfort does not ask for commitment, it asks for permission to stay. Once you give it that permission, it starts making decisions for you, deciding how much effort you give, how far you go, and how small your dreams are allowed to become. New places heal parts you didn't know were tired, because exhaustion is not always loud. Sometimes it hides behind routine, behind productivity, behind the habit of continuing without questioning how you feel. You keep going, doing what needs to be done, believing that tiredness is normal. You don't notice how heavy your thoughts have become, how limited your breathing feels, how your emotions stay muted just to keep functioning. When you stay in the same place for too long, your mind adjusts to constant pressure. Stress becomes familiar. Noise becomes normal. Even emotional weight starts feeling like part of life. You stop identifying it as tiredness because it does not stop you. It just slows you quietly. New places interrupt that silence. They create a pause you didn't know you needed. In a new environment, your senses wake up. Your eyes look around instead of staring ahead. Your ears notice sounds instead of ignoring them. Your body reacts to change before your mind understands it. This shift gently loosens tension that had settled deep inside without permission. Healing does not always come from rest. Sometimes it comes from change. A different sky, a different rhythm, a different pace reminds your nervous system that life can feel lighter. You realize that you are not weak, you were just overloaded by sameness. New places remove expectations. No one knows your routine, your struggles, or your responsibilities. That freedom allows your mind to drop its guard. You stop performing, you stop explaining, you simply exist. In that state, healing begins naturally, without effort. Travel exposes emotional fatigue. You might feel calm, emotional, or even overwhelmed for no clear reason. That is often the release of emotions that were stored, not solved. New places feel safe enough for those emotions to surface. Your body responds to, sleep feels deeper, breathing feels fuller, movement feels easier. These are signs of rest you did not know you were missing. At home, your body stays alert, even during rest. In new places, it finally relaxes. New places also change how you think. Problems that felt heavy begin to lose weight, not because they disappear, but because your mind steps out of the environment that kept feeding them. Distance brings clarity, space brings relief. You start noticing simple joys again, walking without purpose, sitting without checking time, watching instead of rushing. These small moments slowly repair parts of you that constant urgency had worn down. Healing also comes from unfamiliarity. When nothing is expected from you, you are free to respond honestly. You don't need to be efficient or strong. You can be curious, slow, and present. That presence is healing. New places remind you that life is bigger than your current chapter. That reminder alone can lift emotional weight. You realize that your struggles are real, but not permanent, important, but not defining. You also reconnect with yourself. Without daily roles, you hear your inner voice more clearly. You notice what excites you, what drains you, what you have been ignoring. That awareness is the beginning of healing. New places don't fix everything. They don't solve life. But they create conditions where healing can happen. They loosen tight knots inside you that you didn't know existed. simply by changing the space around you and allowing your inner world to breathe again. Travel teaches lessons no routine can teach, because routine is designed to keep life predictable, while travel is designed to break patterns. Routine makes days efficient, but it also makes them repetitive. You wake up knowing what will happen next, and slowly that certainty removes curiosity from your life. Travel interrupts that cycle and forces you to pay attention again. In routine, your mind runs on autopilot. You move from one task to another without noticing small details. Streets look the same, faces feel familiar, and time blends together. Travel wakes the senses. New sounds, new smells, and unfamiliar surroundings pull you into the present moment. You stop rushing and start observing. Travel teaches adaptability. Things don't go according to plan. Transport gets delayed, directions get confusing, and expectations get challenged. In routine, any disruption feels frustrating. While traveling, disruption becomes normal. You learn to adjust instead of resist. This skill stays with you long after the journey ends. Routine teaches control. Travel teaches acceptance. At home, you control your environment. You know how things work. When you travel, control disappears. You learn to trust situations, people, and yourself. This trust builds inner calm, not the kind that depends on perfect conditions, but the kind that survives uncertainty. Travel teaches humility. You realize that the world does not revolve around your habits or preferences. People live differently and still find meaning, joy, and peace. This understanding softens ego. You stop assuming your way is the only right way. Routine rarely challenges ego, but travel gently breaks it. Travel also teaches patience. You wait more. You listen more. You observe more. You realize that rushing does not always lead to better outcomes. In routine, speed feels productive. While traveling, slowness becomes valuable. You learn that some moments are meant to be felt, not finished. Routine keeps emotions controlled. Travel exposes them. You feel excitement, confusion, loneliness, joy, and wonder, sometimes all in one day. This emotional range reconnects you with yourself. You remember what it feels like to be deeply affected by experiences instead of just reacting to schedules. Travel teaches problem solving in real time. No manuals, no familiar support systems, no shortcuts. You rely on instinct, creativity, and calm thinking. Each small challenge solved builds confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet belief in your ability to handle life. Routine teaches consistency, but travel teaches perspective. When you step out of your daily environment, you see your life from a distance. Problems that felt overwhelming begin to shrink. Priorities rearrange themselves. You realize what deserves energy and what was only taking space. Travel teaches gratitude without effort. Simple things start feeling valuable. Clean water, safe shelter, kind strangers, and moments of rest gain new meaning. Routine often hides these blessings because they are always available. Travel removes that blindness. You also learn presence. While traveling, you are less distracted by future plans or past mistakes. You are where you are. This presence feels rare in routine life where the mind is always ahead or behind. Travel teaches connection beyond language. A smile, a gesture, shared silence. You realize how similar humans are beneath surface differences. Routine keeps you surrounded by people like you. Travel introduces you to people who live differently but feel familiar at the core. Routine is necessary for structure, but it cannot teach flexibility, humility, patience, or deep awareness on its own. Travel teaches these lessons naturally, without force, without lectures, simply by placing you in situations where growth becomes unavoidable. You don't need luxury, you need movement, but many people confuse the two. They believe travel must look expensive to be meaningful. Big hotels, perfect photos, and costly plans become the standard. Because of this belief, they delay movement, waiting for money to match an image instead of letting experience shape their life. Movement is about change, not comfort. It is about leaving the familiar and stepping into something slightly unknown. Luxury focuses on ease, while movement focuses on growth. You can move with very little and still return with a lot inside you. A simple journey can change your thinking more than a five-star stay ever could. Luxury keeps you protected from discomfort. Movement exposes you to it, and discomfort is where awareness begins. When things are not perfect, you start noticing yourself. You learn how you react, how you adapt, how you think under pressure. Luxury hides these lessons behind convenience. Movement does not require permission from wealth. It requires intention. A short trip, a new route, a different environment is enough to shift perspective. Waiting for luxury is often just waiting for validation, proof that the experience is worth taking. But growth does not need approval. When you focus on luxury, travel becomes performance. You think about how it will look, how it will be seen, how it will be judged. Movement is private. It is internal. It changes you quietly without asking to be noticed. The real value of travel is not in how it appears, but in how it reshapes you. Luxury makes travel about comfort. Movement makes it about learning. You learn how to live with less. You learn how to rely on yourself. You learn how to appreciate small things. These lessons do not come wrapped in expensive packages. They come through experience. Many people postpone travel because they believe simple travel is not worth it. They want everything to be perfect. Perfect plans, perfect timing, perfect conditions, but perfection creates delay. Movement creates momentum. Once you move, clarity follows. Movement also builds courage. Each time you step out, even in a small way, fear loses its grip. You stop waiting for ideal situations and start trusting your ability to handle what comes. This confidence grows with motion, not comfort. Luxury can make travel passive. Everything is arranged. Everything is easy. You consume the experience without participating in it. Movement requires engagement. You interact, decide, adapt, and respond. That involvement creates deeper impact. Movement keeps life dynamic. It prevents stagnation. When you stay in one place mentally and physically for too long, thoughts become heavy and repetitive. Movement interrupts that pattern. It brings freshness to the mind and lightness to the heart. You don't remember luxury as clearly as you remember moments of change. You remember how a place made you feel, how a road changed your thinking, how a journey made you stronger. These memories come from movement, not expense. Movement reminds you that life itself is motion. Nothing stays still. When you stop moving by choice, life moves without you. Travel is not about escaping life. It is about keeping pace with it. Luxury promises happiness by removing struggle. Movement offers growth by introducing it. One feels good for a moment. The other stays with you longer. The world does not open itself to those waiting for perfect comfort. It opens to those willing to move imperfectly, simply, and honestly, with whatever they have, wherever they are, choosing experience over appearance and motion over waiting. Memories matter more than busy schedules, even though life keeps convincing us otherwise. We fill our days with tasks, meetings, responsibilities, and commitments, believing that staying busy means staying important. Calendars look full, phones never stop, and rest feels like a reward that must be earned. In this constant movement, we forget to ask what all this busyness is actually creating. Busy schedules give the illusion of progress. You feel productive because time is occupied, not because life is meaningful. Days pass quickly, but when you try to remember them, they blend together. One week looks like the next, and months disappear without leaving anything behind. What remains clear are not the tasks you completed, but the moments that touched you. Memories stay because they carry emotion. A shared laugh, a quiet view, a long walk, a moment of freedom. These experiences attach themselves to feelings, and feelings stay longer than facts. No one remembers every email they sent, but they remember how they felt standing somewhere new, breathing differently, thinking differently. Busy schedules train the mind to rush. You move from one thing to another without fully being present in any of them. Even rest becomes rushed, meals are quick, conversations are half listened to, and moments are interrupted by what comes next. Over time, this constant urgency creates emotional numbness. Memories require presence. You cannot create them while your mind is elsewhere. Travel and meaningful moments force you to slow down, to notice, to feel. That slowness allows memories to form deeply instead of fading quickly. Many people postpone experiences because they believe responsibilities are more important. But responsibilities never end. There is always another task waiting. If you keep choosing schedules over experiences, life becomes organized but empty. Structure without meaning eventually leads to exhaustion. Memories also give strength during difficult times. When life feels heavy, you don't look back at how busy you were. You look back at moments that reminded you who you are. Those memories become anchors. They bring comfort, motivation, and perspective when routine feels overwhelming. Busy schedules serve systems, memories serve the soul. One keeps life running, the other keeps it worth living. When everything is focused on efficiency, life loses warmth. When moments are prioritized, even busy lives feel lighter. Memories shape identity. They become part of how you see yourself and the world. Traveling to a new place, facing something unfamiliar, or stepping out of routine changes how you think and feel. These changes stay long after the moment ends. Schedules do not change you, experiences do. You can be busy for years and still feel like nothing happened. Or you can have fewer days filled with meaning and feel rich inside. The value of time is not measured by how much you do, but by what stays with you. People rarely look back and wish they worked more hours. They wish they lived more moments. They wish they paused more, explored more, felt more. Busy schedules promise security, but memories provide fulfillment. Life will always ask for your time. The question is where you invest it, in tasks that end when the day ends, or in experiences that stay with you quietly, shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and your sense of being alive. Save time for travel before time runs out, because time does not warn before it changes. We live as if days are unlimited, as if energy will always be available, and as if opportunities will wait for us to feel ready. This assumption makes delay feel harmless, even wise. But time does not work with intentions, it works with actions. We often believe we will travel later, when life becomes lighter, when responsibilities reduce, when finances improve, when the mind feels calm, but life rarely becomes lighter on its own. It becomes fuller, more roles, more expectations, more weight. Waiting for the perfect window means watching years pass while plans stay the same. Time leaves quietly. There is no announcement when a year ends, no signal when youth fades, no reminder when energy changes. One day you realize that what once felt easy now feels heavy, not because you did something wrong, but because time moved forward while you were waiting. Travel requires time, not perfection. Even short journeys need space, attention, and presence. When life gets crowded, that space becomes harder to find. Saving time for travel means protecting it intentionally, not borrowing it from exhaustion. Many people treat travel as optional, something extra. Work, duty, and responsibility take priority, while experience waits at the bottom of the list. Over time, this order shapes a life that functions well but feels incomplete. Time spent traveling is not wasted time. It sharpens thinking, softens emotions, and refreshes perspective. It returns you to life with more clarity than before, but this return only happens if you allow yourself to leave. Saving time for travel also means saying no. No to unnecessary tasks, no to constant availability, no to living only for deadlines. It means recognizing that your time is valuable not just for what you produce, but for how you experience being alive. We often think we will appreciate travel more later, when we are older and calmer, but appreciation is strongest when curiosity is alive and energy is available. Time changes both quietly. Travel is not just about places. It is about moments when you step out of autopilot. When you stop reacting and start observing. When you remember that life is more than routine. When time runs out, regret does not come from what you didn't earn, but from what you didn't experience. Missed places, missed moments, missed chances to feel free, present, and alive. Saving time for travel is an act of awareness. It is choosing to live consciously instead of postponing life. It is understanding that someday is not a date on the calendar. The world does not shrink with age, but our ability to explore it can. Energy, health, and freedom are not permanent resources. They change without notice. Travel does not ask you to abandon responsibility. It asks you to balance it with experience. To remember that life is happening now, not later. Time will run out whether you travel or not. The difference is what remains when you look back. Days filled only with obligation, or moments filled with meaning, movement, and memory.